Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Game Vault podcast stream. I'm your host, Mark. We're back for the news hour, this time on a regularly scheduled Sunday. You would think that having 10 days instead of the normal 7, there would be more news for us to discuss. Depending on how deep we wanted to get into some things, there were some good things that came out, but I don't know enough about them, and they're not really like it. There was a great IGN interview with the Okami people, and I didn't pull that because I didn't get a chance to read through it all. So, it wouldn't be great to just be doing it live here. So, yeah, what we're gonna do, we get the news on there. Most of it's going to be the state of play, but yeah, so lighter news than I thought. But yeah. Without further ado, let's get into what I've been playing. Main reason, well, there's 2 reasons why I'm late. Computer issues 1. If you're here for the pre-show, you know that. 2, I finally got a chance to sit down and play Civilization 7 today. As I do with my first games of Civ 7, I like to start them normally on a weekend when I have nothing really to do. You can take breaks in between if things come up or you have to go do stuff or eat and things like that. So I started about 11 a.m. after I got all my chores done in the morning. I got to be able to ate breakfast, had lunch, about 11:30, and just, sat down and I went through an entire game, which got done about 9. So we're looking 9 to 10 hours here. I know I'm a lucky one that's able to do this, as I know Tom and all would probably love to be able to gaming marathon like this. But it's one thing I've done with Civ games ever since I got them, is just play the first one through, try to read the tutorials, but just vibe it. Just go through and just vibes and just see how it feels. The first thing I'll say is I'm not entirely sure if I like it yet. There are a few things that are a little confusing in that, how to put this, they streamlined a whole bunch of stuff, to, hey, Night Duck, they streamed a whole bunch of stuff, or streamlined it to make it sort of easier in some instances, but it also made some things a little more complicated by I have such muscle memory for 5 and 6 that some of the things being moved slightly in terms of how the tech tree works, how civics work, essentially. Back in Civ 5 and 6, what I used to do, and apparently you can't do in this one, I don't know why they wouldn't let you do it in this one, I would always see something I want that's like 2 or 3 sections ahead on the tree, and I would click that, and then it would automatically run through all of those science thing, and I didn't have to worry about science. Yeah, that you do have to be very civilized to play this game. Yeah, so I like that aspect to where, and you could do the same thing with civics, but civics you want it to be a little more hands-on than you were with the research. Normally, I played the game like you go in with a plan. Or at least that's how I play Civ. So I go in, I go, alright, military victory. So I go in, tech tree, scout all the way to the, whatever near the end of the first age, best military stuff to get me iron weapons way earlier than anyone else. So I streamline it to that and then backfill if I need to. But the way this works is you have to do it one at a time. And it just takes a little bit more. Everything about that is very much would be helpful in the real world. But in 7, you have to do it one at a time. Now, one of the reasons you can is one of the things that I think is a pretty good additive to it, but I really wish it didn't come at the cost of being able to plan ahead, is that they now have masteries on certain things. Like certain science skill tree stuff, you can go like level 1, level 2. Like, was it writing? that's the first thing that popped in my head. Writing level 1, writing level 2. So you can level that up. Even with the extra stuff, you can still... I completed the tech tree by the end, and was doing the future tech stuff, which is just giving you science points for victory. And so it wasn't any harmful there, but it made the game a little cumbersome for me that I had to... Maybe I just have to learn how to play it that way. The going back and forth between... trying to figure out where in the tech tree I want to be and all that, and remembering which is in what line and all that, instead of just having it set. But I do like like I said, I like some of the improvements with having levels, like multiple levels to a tech. So you can maybe get ahead a little bit that way. That was a little bit different. Civics work. Hey, Goat, thanks for the sub. Enjoy your emotes. I don't think I have announcements during the news hour, so apologize if you're looking for that to pop up. They might not even be working because Streamlabs have been weird. But yeah, enjoy your emotes. Welcome back. But yeah, so the civics I have to dive in a little bit more to understand. Essentially, they played around with... 6 was a little complicated in the fact that it took a while to sort of understand the flow, and I'm feeling that's going to be the same thing with this civics. Again, I've only played one game. You had to understand that you couldn't just have everything. It's not like the science tech tree. With the what's called the government civics tree, you have to have an idea of what you want to do. Going in and understand what gets you to that goal. The advisors help, but there's some things that you should go for that they don't mention that you should thing. It's kind of like 6 in that sense. So I think it's just a couple more games that'll sort of get that in, but that little change up there in terms of the way that just looks. You're not choosing, if I remember correctly, you would choose a government and then choose the civics policies on top of that. And here they seem to be like almost 2 separate things. I'll have to play a couple more games to kind of exactly figure that out. On the military side, still the same thing. Except the UI stuff kind of sucks. I don't know if you've heard that reading about it, but it is true. Like when I like to do, especially when I'm fighting a war, I like to just spam the units, the military units, and then just have them flood out and go. Here, the UI is kind of broken in that after you get, I should have counted, I think it's 10 things on screen. Maybe it's a little less than that, like 10 things on a list like this. It goes below the screen and you can't scroll. So if you ever need to move something up the list and and you went 13 items down, you have to delete things to get that thing to come up. So that they need to work on. They need to fix that. It used to be it was more of a horizontal list when you were building it out, and now it seems vertical, which is not helpful at all. But I guess they were trying to streamline it because they made it bigger, because it used to be little tiny pictures. Now it's a little bigger. Oh, that sucks, Tom. It's been a weird internet night on my end too. With I guess there's a storm going on outside. Hopefully it stays on for you. I was late anyway. I played 9 hours of Civ today, so that's why we're a little behind. But so finishing up on the military, the good thing is what I've noticed, because the from my underground lair. Yeah, I really can't, to be honest. Unless if it's thunderstorming, I kind of look out and go, "Oh, it's raining." Um, yeah, I would need wind and stuff like that because I literally have grass right outside my window. So unless if it's like raining heavy, I don't hear it at all. It's not like living like I used to by sidewalks and stuff like that. Different, but anyway, that's a weird tangent to go off of. But the 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 main thing I've noticed, because you used to be able to in 5 and 6, is that you can essentially, while doing the science victory, you could also build up your military to be world domination if you wanted to. Here, it's almost like military is like its own separate thing. Like, you do get the upgrades and you do the science stuff to be able to get the new things, but it's not as streamlined to just point you in the direction to build up your military too. Like, it took me the longest time to figure out how to get planes. Because it says, oh, you got to build an aerodrome. And I kept waiting for my capital to get an aerodrome. But here, you have to make sure you have the space for it. And not that, I know that's very obvious to say, but in Civ 7, in the previous Civs, you could just destroy something to put something new on top of it. You can kind of do that here, but if you don't have the right land set up to put like an excuse me, put an airstrip on, I'm not going to let you do it. So I had to build my thing like way away from my city, my capital, which is not ideal. But didn't get to do much flight because of that. I did end up losing my first game, which isn't unheard of, especially when you're learning it. I probably played too closely to how I played the other games, and this very much, as I've said multiple times, very much seems like it's you need to make a decision. Like, if you're going to go science, you need to go hard science. Like, no, like, just have just enough military to, defend yourself, and nothing more. Or be very good diplomatically to stop people from wanting to fight wars with you. And it very much deems, it's got the 3 eras. You start off in the first one. I only remember the last 2. I think the first one, I forget the name of it. But that's like your basic era. You're just going through things. Like bronze, iron, stuff like that. And then it goes to the exploration era, which is where you start getting stuff to spread out to other continents. And they have a thing that's really cool that'll say with the map. So when you're in that first stage, very much so, the mini map at the bottom just stays locked on your side of the map. Because you're not getting anything that lets you do cross-continent, like cross-ocean travel. So they just kind of keep the map that way. And then as soon as you get to the exploration era, it widens and shows you how big the map is. And because of that, well, you can choose tiny or regular. But because of that, it's a pretty cool effect to now you're like, oh shit, there's more over that way. Kind of like, I guess it would have been like in that time period that you're trying to liken it to. But yeah, it's pretty cool so far. Some of the stuff's just weird. Like I said, I feel like I gotta give it. It's weird to say you gotta give a game a few months, but Civ 5 and 6 had the same thing, where it was like, it's good in the beginning, and then they add a couple things in the first couple months, and you're like, now this is the game. This is it. When Civ 6 added the natural disasters, which are in this game already, and all that extra stuff, global warming stuff, that changed that game and made it so much better. I hope there's something like that to this. So far, it's very, very bare bones in terms of, dealing with typical stuff. Like, there's not anything crazy with the leaders. I mean, I did have this one leader that was kind of fucking nuts in it. And I don't know if that was just AI, bad AI. But she would keep declaring war on me. I would destroy her. She'd have to surrender, give me a city or two. And then, like, 25, 30 turns later, she's back declaring war on me. And I'm like, I don't think you built up your military enough for this. And then once again, the same thing. She tries to invade. I knock her back. I start almost taking over one of her cities. And then she surrenders and gives me another 2 cities. It had to be like an AI error. Because it was the same leader. And then the funny part was I had Napoleon in mind because I connected my 2K account and got Napoleon. And me and him were buds throughout the whole thing. And then when I started just taking over anybody that started, I got really pissed in the 3rd era. Anytime someone started declaring war on me, I would just go until I literally took over like 2 or 3 of their cities, and then I would do the peace deal. And by doing that, I started building too close to Paris, and Napoleon got pissed at me. Ended up not mattering in the end, but it was funny. We were allies and buds the whole time, and then he would help me in wars, and I'd take over a city, and then he'd be like, wait, no. And then he was, had the great, there's a great thing in the upper, I guess it's right-hand corner of the screen, or it would be this side of the screen for those of you, watching. They have all the leaders up there, and they're animated a little bit, so, like, when they're pissed at you, they look pissed, or if they're happy with you, they look happy. They do this is part of the streamlined, straightforward stuff. You're never questioning where you stand with any of the leaders. So I guess that's helping newcomers come in and not understand how diplomatic points work and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's what I did for most of my Sunday here, was play through that. So I had a ton of fun. I don't know if I'll do a marathon session again tomorrow. I want to get a couple more things in. I hope it's just the normal animation from 5 and 6, so kind of disappointing. But they would never do this, but I would 100% love when you meet a world leader that it's an FMV of somebody impersonating that world leader. It would make me so happy. It would suck looking at it as a game, because the transition from FMV to the game, you wouldn't be able to transition well. But just having some guy show up as Benjamin Franklin, would be funny. Live action FMV would be great. The one good thing they do, and they put subtitles here for you, is each leader speaks their own language. Like, they don't all speak English. I think Civ 5 had that, where everybody spoke English with just an accent. And you could toggle it. And I think 6 just did away with the toggle, and 7 doesn't have that either. So, yeah. Yeah, doing really insane stuff all day Sunday. Goat mentions that he spent his Sunday trying to do super solo hell dives, and I came to realize the devil are twisted. Yeah, that's kind of, when you do an all day thing, it's kind of like you always come to a realization of the game you're playing. So, but yeah, so I will have more updates on Civ because I'm probably going to be playing it a good bit. But yeah, it's not all the way there yet. It's a game that probably needed a couple more months, just to work out some of the AI kinks and stuff like that. That building list thing is just bothered me, because it's like there's no reason why you can't scroll it. It's literally no reason to do that. Well, the devil. I guess they could be the devil too. Yeah. I haven't played Helldivers, so I wasn't sure if you were mentioning somebody in the game. That's why I said it, matter of fact. Yep. Need to research a couple more. It's on the tech tree. Yeah, it seems a bit rushed. Everything technically in the game is good. Um, there's a couple bugs, like I said, that building thing, and sometimes you have to be precisely on a certain pixel when you're trying to move a unit, or else it doesn't recognize it. I think that's just a UI bug thing that they'll probably fix when they do everything else. But besides that, 95%, 98% of the game is super good. Played at 1440p all on high. Great thing about Civ, it's only 18 gigabytes. So, there's not much to it. Most of the animation is very short. So they can keep the file size low. And other games that I played I think we're on Area 7 of Adventure Island, which means we have 2 more left. So we should be beating that game in the next week or two, to which I will be choosing another game for that. We're no longer doing the wheel. I'm just sort of finding games that I want to get off my backlog, or maybe we could just have a fun series with. Essentially, it more catered to me, since this is now my thing, and we're going to be doing the Game Vault. We're going to be doing Retro Roulette, the original Retro Roulette, with Podcast Prime, being more like a game club, or like a book club sort of thing. So yeah, but so far, it's doing the thing. I think I mentioned this previously. It's doing the thing where it's not so much making the thing more difficult, it's just throwing more things at you. It's no fun, difficulty up. I think you guys know what I'm saying. Each act, or whatever they call them, the levels, there's 4 in each area. They basically run almost the same formula. The first one is usually a quicker one that, depending on time jumping and just sort of puzzly stuff. The second one has a ton of difficult jumps in it, or jumps that you have to be confident, and sort of some blind jumps and stuff like that. That's the platforming skill one, is usually the second area. The third one, usually they throw a whole bunch of enemies at you. Just out of nowhere. Just a whole bunch. Or they put them in really bad situations, or they throw a ton of frogs at you, which are, speaking of devil stuff, they just throw a whole bunch of them at you, and make it slightly difficult. And then 4 is sort of a mixture of 2 and 3, where they'll have some hard jumping areas with a lot of enemies, and they will throw an egg out there that'll give you something you don't want, and make it almost physically impossible to not get that egg. So it's either the skateboard, which makes it worse, in terms of control, because the skateboard is an auto run, or it's that great eggplant looking thing that flies above you that sort of sucks the life out of you. And you gotta move fast and keep collecting fruit to survive. So they basically, mix the 2 difficulties, and then the bosses aren't that difficult. You just gotta not get greedy, and you can beat them pretty easily. They just take more hits now, is what I found as going along. They don't change much in terms of the actual battle. But yeah, the good thing about the way we're playing it with save states and stuff, because there is no way I could beat this the regular way. I am not good enough to do that, even with continues and stuff, is that I have the fire thing, which takes care of rocks and, stuff like that, to make the jumps sort of a little easier. So that's getting us through. But besides that, it's just they're ramping it up in the wrong ways and not a fun way. Like literally, I think it was the beginning of the second thing in the last area was literally a pixel perfect jump you had to make. And if you missed it by a little bit short, you died. If you missed it long, you got that grapefruit thing, which would almost kill you instantly because there's not enough fruit at that point. So hopefully the rest of it is not too much different, and I can sort of just get through it. But I'm glad that I played it. I will say that. And we finally got on Saturday. Got some Trails in the Sky in. Sorry, my eye's been itching the entire time. For those of you on audio. So that's what this pause is for. We got through the prologue finally after 2 streams. I had forgotten one thing about that game. I love it, by the way. I kind of forgotten how much I've loved the first game. And I absolutely love this game. Is that the end of and beginning of chapters have like 15 to 20 minute cutscenes. Or they feel 15 to 20 minutes. Because they just stop giving you you can't save at any point. Yeah, it just at the end of the night, I was nearing 3 hours, and I'm like, all right, I just want, come on, okay, I get it, we got to do okay, yeah, but I've done a new thing with this playthrough is I'm reading all the dialogue, because I watched through the first playthrough we had back pandemic, literally during the pandemic, and I would just sit there and read the dialogue, and there'd be silence, and I'm like, that's not I try not to do that. I think when I get tired, sometimes maybe I forget, but it's really just, trying to do what I can do to make it as entertaining as possible when there's no voice acting in there. I'm not a great voice actor, for those of you that had me as a DM for D&D. I try my best to make people sound different, but really all I can do is have my voice higher or lower, depending on the person. Not real good with accents and stuff like that. But I think you would understand. Hopefully you're not looking away from the TV because you have no idea who's talking to who. But yeah, either way. Oh. Speaking of, I can hear the rain hitting my window now. I don't know if that's coming through. But it's same stuff. We got through the thing where we're learning the game. And now we're into chapter 1. We have our pieces on the table. We have the 3 villains or 2 new villains, I think, and the scientist I think we met in the last game. I'm not entirely sure. Then we met Joshua again, who's now running around with those Josette and those weird pirate people from the last game. And then you're now a senior bracer, and we went with Hot Mommy, and we chose Shira instead of Sad Boy Agate, or a Gate, or however you say that. No, that's not for me, Night Duck. But yeah, I can't wait to get deeper into it because I've heard these games are all connected because they let me bring over my save, which I don't know if I made choices that came over, but it makes me level 40. So I don't know if enemies have scaled up for me, but I am one-shotting a lot of things. I'd have to see somebody play it through without bringing their level over to see, but either way, combat system I'm enjoying a lot more. They added a couple new things to the craft system, which I'm remembering how to do and use properly. I became a master at that by the end and would learn how to give myself an advantage. And then I learned that you have to figure out the boss battles. They're not just all static stuff. Like, the last one we had at the end of the prologue, the guy would intentionally knock our people on opposite ends of the map because Trails has a thing where to heal when it's not an art, like with an item, or to resurrect, you need to be within a certain area of each other. So by the boss knocking you across the map, you can't do that. So I figured out a way to sort of bring my people together and get them to the back of the map so that when he tried to knock them across, they would just hit the invisible wall, and he didn't move them at all. And that fared pretty well for me. I had another one where the person would just do range attacks and would never let you get close, and you couldn't do any magic because they would instantly like counterspell it essentially. So I basically cornered her. They're using movement a lot more in this than I remember from the last one. So I basically cornered her and was able to take her out because she couldn't get away from my physical attacks at that point. But yeah, I can't wait till Saturday. Again, it's got me hooked. 2 sessions in, and I'm already excited for next week. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think I didn't play NCAA this week. Yeah, it was just the games on stream, and then I've been watching some stuff. I mention her all the time, but just Capricorn was finishing up Final Fantasy VIII, and I was watching through that because that's always a fun game to watch people play for the first time. And oddly enough, the game is slowly coming up my list of Final Fantasies. Watching people play it and me playing it off and on every so often. I think I was just the junction system was so different and weird that I just dismissed it. But watching it over and over again and playing it a few times and actually seeing people break down the system, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. It puts it, a lot higher than it was. It used to be the bottom. I used to make the joke that it was all other Final Fantasies than 8. But I'm revising that. There are quite a few Final Fantasies that are worse than this, but not many. And of the ones I played, it's a lot higher than I originally had it. So, yeah, that's been about it for me. Let's get on to the news. Like I said, most of it is just going to be the state of play stuff. So, let's see. Did that come up? Yeah, that came up for you guys. All right. So, yeah. So everything that was announced, the state of play, didn't have any Bloodborne stuff, but did have a couple of good, I guess, debuts. Saros, Housemarque's next game, which is essentially just Returnal, or whatever we were trying to say when we watched the state of play. You can get our initial thoughts on things. Video. I think I put that video up. I don't know if I put it up on YouTube or not. I had a weird week this week in terms of. If not, I will get it up. Returnal. That's it. I will get that up ahead of this week. I think I put it up. Yeah. Either way. Yeah, so this game looks awesome. Just like Returnal looked awesome. I don't know if it'll definitely be something that I'll get into, but they said, like it says here, there will be permanent progression system, and every death reshapes the world while offering new upgrades to overcome challenges. So slightly different than Returnal, but sort of the same wheelhouse. So looks like Housemarque has found their what they do, and they're just going to do it, and that is never a bad thing. And then the worst kept secret was the Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, release is going to be for. Ooh, I got to scroll down a little bit more. Got to remember that the bottom of the screen is cut off. Will be released on August 28th, 2025, as we found out, because this trailer that we saw here was leaked on the PSN store. Not sure how that happened, But everything we saw in this, including the Ape Escape collaboration, all that was leaked on the PlayStation Network before this. So, don't know if that's Konami's fault or Sony's fault, but pretty freaking weird. I cannot wait for this game. I think I might actually stream this game. I might make this a Saturday game. Because I've already played through it, so it's not like I need to beat it in like a couple days, or if people, spoil it and stuff like that, I'm not really going to care. But I think I might actually stream this game when it comes out for you guys. But yeah, so everything looks amazing. For those of us that have beaten Snake Eater, watching this trailer, you're like, holy shit, okay. They're showing that the game's done, because I would say at least 40% of the scenes in the trailer are from the last third of the game. So the game's absolutely done. It's not going to be a delay. But everybody looks great in it. The boss and Eva look fantastic. And yeah, it's just even what's his name, Ocelot, did really good job on Ocelot, a young Ocelot in this. But yeah, so August 28th, you will see it on this channel. Yeah, Borderlands 4, it's coming out September 23rd. As we always say, not much of a Borderlands people. I got the furthest in 2, and then I did it solo, and then it just started getting hard to do some of the things solo without grinding too much. So if you're into Borderlands and have people to play with you, September 23rd, it's coming out. Onimusha shows off a new protagonist. I'm assuming, I haven't played or even seen Onimusha in a while. Sorry, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Yeah. Whoa, sorry, I missed the chat. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. With Sony, never say never. Exactly. Yeah, so they showed off a new trailer. Won't be released till 2026. Yeah, Onimusha is a game that I've seen from afar and was very, very, going, oh, I may like this, and then never picked it up because either at the time it was, I don't want to play this game because I need to play the games that all my friends are playing so that I can keep up with those conversations, and they didn't really like samurai stuff. So maybe I'll play this, but it might fall on the list again where other things just come out and I never get around to it. But it looks pretty good. I did like the little bit of humor that they showed in it. This specific moment that's on the screen now, for those of you watching the thing, showed you sort of where the humor is in this game. So for those of you that like Onimusha, I believe they're also, I don't know if they show it here, but they're, it might be a little bit further down, but I think they're mastering the original, or the second one, or both. We'll see. But, yeah. So, the next game on the list, Tides of Annihilation. Very much love the look of this game. I believe, now, Metal Militia can correct me if I'm wrong, or Night Duck if he was there. I think this was the one that we said, like, had a lot of that Final Fantasy 15 sort of combat, 16 combat. A lot of fast-paced, breakneck speed in terms of combat there. I just have to rewatch the trailer to see if I get anything else comparisons. But yeah, the Forsaken, this was, I am in for this one, as well. Just beautiful art style. The combat looks interesting and fun, but like with anything else, it's eye of the beholder stuff. So we'll see how it feels, when we actually get ahead of it. But this is one of the newer things, along with Soros, that was not really on my radar and kind of jumped out to me, and I'm looking forward to it. Yep. And speaking of, yeah, the one that made you all say, "Wait, did they cancel Final Fantasy 15?" That's true. We did say that. To let you know, Goat. I gotta fix this thing above my head here. Say it every week. Never do it. Mark. I am actually going to play the first couple hours of Doom: The Dark Ages on stream when it comes out as part of my new Friday night show. So, you'll probably already be playing it if you're looking forward to it. But if you want to check it out before you jumped in, you can watch somebody play it really terribly, but at least get to see it. So, yeah. So it'll be doing for the new show here. So I will be doing that on Friday. Speaking of that show, this Friday is Avowed. You'll probably have reviews and people, already talking a lot about it. It's more going to be, does Mark like it, and does Mark want to stream it for you guys? That's essentially what we'll get there. Same way. Yeah, we're in the same boat then, Goat. It's the one game on the list that's coming up that I keep apologizing for. I'm like, guys, I'm going to play Doom: The Dark Ages. I'm probably going to be pretty terrible at it. Just come with the same mindset you come when you watch me play platformers. It's going to be the same thing. So, Jonathan already knows about first-person things and me. playing Call of Duty either with me or watching me play it. Yeah, it's not going to be any different with Doom. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Speaking of things people probably did not want, on the flip side of Doom, a Days Gone remaster is coming. Yeah, so you can't spoil it for me. I'm only going to play the first 2 hours, so you won't be spoiled anything by me in the first 2 hours. So try and stay a couple days ahead of me. I'm only going to play it weekly, or it's going to be like weird stream days for it. I know the feeling, Goat. I never had anybody say no, but when people invite me, they know what they're getting. So, yeah. Literally funny story, going back. I had a really terrible KD, like really bad, awful. I won't lie, it's like 0.3. It was real bad. And then literally, Night Duck said the most simple thing to me that added 0.5 to my KD. And I got better than that before I went on a hiatus of playing it. I was starting to get to around 1 when I was playing consistently. But it just went, yeah, you might want to just keep looking around while you're walking and not just stare straight ahead. And I was like, oh, I should probably use both sticks while walking around. It was that and telling me to reload after each firefight, which should have been simple, but it was those two things that almost got me up to a 1 KD. So that's the kind of player you're dealing with here. Anyway, so Days Gone getting remastered. This is not the remaster we wanted, Sony. It's coming April 25th. Maybe this is just a fuck you to the developer or the creator who says he's not allowing a sequel. So they're just going to wring as much money out of this as possible. I apparently can get it for $10 because I got Days Gone free when I bought the PS5 because they were still in the apology phase and gave you 10 games immediately. Yeah, so we're not going to be playing this on stream, but yeah, we got that remaster. That was not the one we wanted, Sony. We'll be getting to this at the end. The announces the catalog that is the last story, as it always is. Next up, we have the new game from the Benz, Leslie Benzi, best known for working on Grand Theft Auto and basically the fixer that the Housers had. Essentially, the joke story I don't know if it's a joke story, but it was like in one of those spoken like history, like those articles where they basically talk about the development of a game and oral history of the development. And I think it was for GTA 5 or maybe 4. Anytime they ran into a problem, when something was a bug or they couldn't figure out how to make something work, I think it was Dan Houser, it was one of the two Housers, would just yell in the meeting, "Get me the Benz!" And they would bring Leslie Benzies back when they either laid him off or he left or something, and he would come in as a consultant and fix whatever the problem was. So he now has his own game out called Mind's Eye. Very much looks like a Call of Duty-esque, a GTA-like game. Doesn't do a whole lot for me. It looks really good. I don't know. I can't really understand what the story is going for. It's basically one of those guy wakes up with the thing and wants to uncover, like it says, the truth of his past. It just looks like one of those games. Hopefully the gameplay is great. I will try it out. But yeah, it is definitely not. It didn't grab me immediately like some other games on this list did. But yeah. So if you are a fan of GTA, does sound like RoboCop. I wish it's as good as RoboCop. So, yep. If you're looking for like a GTA like, that might be actually better because maybe he was the reason they were good, not the Housers. You can check out Mind's Eye. Warriors Abyss. It's a roguelite that launched on PS5. Sort of like a Dragon Warriors spin-off. So if you're into Dragon Warrior or Dynasty Warriors, I should say, yeah, you can go download this game now. It's a 1 versus 1,000 roguelike action. It's called. So there you have it. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I'm a big fan of Sonic Racing. I currently have Sonic All Stars Transformed downloaded on the living room computer that I play periodically. More so than I do Mario Kart 8. It's weird. I like both games. I don't know. It's weird to say I don't know which one is better. But the I enjoy. I'll say I enjoy the Sonic game more. Mario Kart 8 might be better, or probably is better. But I tend to go back to the Sonic game more than I do Mario Kart. Mario Kart seems more like a couch co-op game or a even online game at this point, fun with your friends sort of thing. And this is more maybe there's some more unlocked stuff and weird things, like there's mini games and stuff that I enjoy that makes it different. So I'm interested in Cross Worlds. It's like I'm actually one that's on board and excited about this. I like the idea of going through the rings, doing the thing they do in the movie, and taking you to a whole nother location. That can be really messed up and really poorly designed, or it can be awesome. I am definitely looking forward to seeing which way it goes, and when that comes out. Yeah, I'll probably get it for PC like I did before, but yeah, it's coming out on all systems. Stellar Blade gets a crossover with Nikki, I believe is how you say that. DLC and PC port release. I will say, I know I've already brought her name up previously, but if you go out and search Jess Capricorn on YouTube, find one of her videos where she set up a mod that every time she looked at the protagonist in Stellar Blade's ass, the game would do a jump scare. And it is one of the funniest videos that I've seen, because it's when you're told not to do something and your brain just keeps wanting to do it. And it's pretty good. I don't know where the idea came from to do that, but it led to one of the best ideas and one of the reasons I came around on Stellar Blade, despite the morons that tried to make me hate it with their censorship shit. But anyway, Next up is probably the thing that most of the Game Vault community is probably excited about, and by that I mean Night Duck. Um, Lies of P's DLC. It's a prequel coming out this summer. So we get to see some more of legally distinct Timothy Chalamet as Pinocchio. Yeah, it'll basically, it says it lets players uncover the hidden stories of Krat and see how you woke up in the middle of the great puppet frenzy. That is the tagline for it. So that is coming out in the summer. As as Jonathan said, I think it was Lies of P that you said on the stream that I would not get past the first boss, which sounds about right. I play way too many hours of Souls-like games, however you want to say it. And I get to a certain point and I'm just done skill-wise. And I probably take way longer than I need to get past the first boss. I did pass the threshold test that everybody had for Bloodborne. Father Gascoigne. I beat Father Gascoigne. In not so much. That's true. But I did get past that point. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's essentially, I wanted to play Lies of P and just saw people playing it, and I was like, you know what? There were too many games coming out at the time that I would play it for 2 hours and not be good enough at it to want to continue. So, but I know it is probably a lot better than that for me. But yeah, I've never finished. I think the furthest I got in anything was Dark Souls 1. I think I got about 2/3 of the way through that game. I forget exactly where I stopped. There's a weird thing where I watched a lot of people play Dark Souls that I started to blend in my head my playthrough with the playthroughs I watched, and I couldn't remember why I knew certain things I knew, whether it was streaming or me playing it. But I do remember I got about 2/3 of the way through that game. And I forget who was the boss that stopped me. But yeah. Yeah, I did. I loaded up a save, which I would have to pull out my PS3 for, which I am not going to do before I figured it out. Yeah, it was such a phenomenon on the internet and streaming, and it was just, I couldn't put witches. Now, I don't know how far into the game. I do know for sure that I got to the part, I think it's Dark Souls 1, where you fall down that pit and there's all those bone wheel skeletons. I know I beat that, got through that. I'm 100% sure because they pissed me off, and it was almost the point that I put down the game. But yeah. So, I know I got that far. I think I got past that. But yeah, that I know for sure. But everything else is a blur. Like, I remember bosses I may have ran out of beaten, but yeah, that just shows you with those games, there. But, moving on, WWE 2K25 is just starting to look like more like NBA. It's essentially the NBA thing, NBA 2K, thing, but just wrestling. Wrestling might actually be better for this, to being completely honest with you, than basketball would. And they're calling it the Island. You know, it's a little more to it than the MK Island. It's closer to probably, I guess it would be closer to what Street Fighter was doing, but it is basically visually the NBA 2K multiplayer online world, just with wrestling. Which again, I think actually fits better. I never fucked with either of them, so in terms of online for both wrestling and NBA, but I just distinctly remember that running around like it's a mall, and there's all these places where you can upgrade things on your character, and the way they look, and they would give you stat boosts and stuff like that. This looks like you'll bring a custom wrestler in. You used to be able to have to choose superstars, but this looks like you'll be able to create your own wrestler and wrestle other created wrestlers. So that should be pretty cool there. Develop storylines and all this stuff. It's really hard to get what everybody actually likes about wrestling into a wrestling game. Because essentially when you're playing a game, you don't want to lose. So the trick to professional wrestling is sometimes the people know they're going to lose. And they have to be okay with that. When you're playing a video game, you can't really... I don't know how you do that. But, yeah. We'll see how this goes. Maybe it'll make them some extra money and they can actually make a good game. Next up, a game that I will play. Because, again, Shinobi was a game that I played through rentals from Blockbuster. Because it just looked cool, and cover, and think Shinobi 3 in particular. I think it's Shinobi 3. It's one of them. One of them has a pretty freaking cool cover, and I rented it all the time. And I'm probably gonna jump on the Mister after this to figure out which one it was, but I think it's 3. But either way, they're bringing it back as sort of a there's a word for it. We'll say stylistic side scroller that looks pretty good. It looks very much as faithful to the side scrolling as the Streets of Rage 4 was. I hope they have the same thing Streets of Rage 4 did for us older gamers, where they did basically make you have infinite lives, just so you can get through it. Maybe it'll have that mode here for me. The baby mode, so that I can see the whole game. But yeah, very interesting. Glad that that's the route they went, instead of trying to make it a 3D game. Metal Eden, as it says, it's an adrenaline rush sci-fi FPS. It's, again, not really a first-person shooter kind of guy, so this didn't really stick out to me. I kind of even forgotten it was mentioned. But, yeah. Yeah, I think this is the one that Tom said reminded him of Mirror's Edge. I think that was that one. Next up was Lost Souls Aside, which was the was it? I forget what he was. It was basically... This one guy, Yang Bing, this was like a passion project for him, and able to get it made, and then it got blown up into this big thing. So it looks pretty cool from the trailer, but again, I don't know how much of that is cinematic and how much of that is, gameplay. You never know, but it was another game that did stick out to us in there. So we'll definitely... if it comes out in some way to play it for free, I will play it. But yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it says Lost Souls Aside started as a one-person's dream from Yang Bing, and it has now evolved into a sprawling adventure full of breathtaking visuals and adrenaline-pumping combat. I don't know what they were trying to sell it as to begin with, but it looks cool. I'll probably wait for reviews and stuff like that. And another thing just for Night Duck. Monster Hunter Wilds adds Mizune. I said this right. Mizutune. Mizosune. I think the T is silent. Mizosune is how I would say it. Jonathan could probably correct me. I think the T is like silent. Its first big free update. Mizosune. Yeah. Okay. I thought so. The T was fucking me up looking at it. Kept wanting to pronounce it English T. like a hard T, but that's not what's in there. Yeah, so there's going to be event quests and other things like that in these updates. Very much Monster Wilds, if I was going to get into one of them, is definitely would be the way I would go on the big console, not like the handheld stuff, like going back. But again, it feels like a game that you have to dedicate to. You have to make the decision that you really want to play that game. It's not one you can jump in and out of, and I don't know if I'd be able to dedicate all the time to it required. But I would. But if Night Duck does stream any of it, make sure you are following his channel and have notifications on if you do want to see somebody with skill playing that game over there. And next up, Split Fiction, which I am in negotiations with Roxy Foxy to try and figure out when we're going to stream this. Because we did play through It Takes Two as one of the big streams that we did at the beginning of this channel, and I would love to do another game like this with her again. Hazelight has the great thing of you only buy it once, so we could split it, and it can be bought on like my account, and I can give her the friends one, and we can go from there with it, and not fuck it up like last time. Because I tried to use it with my free EA Play when I was paying for EA Play, and sent her the free thing, but then she could only do Steam, and it just got messed up. So I think we're going to figure out how to do it just on one thing, and that's it. But yeah, March 6th, so we'll probably do it. It'll probably be in the summer or something like that. Probably not on release, maybe even the winter. But we will try and get together and play through that entire game. On sometime in the next year or so. Full playthrough of that with us. So, look forward to that. Supermassive, what is it? The Quarry and Until Dawn. Those people now have a sci-fi horror game coming out called Directive 8020, which is a pretty good title for your sci-fi horror game. But yeah, it just looks like maybe the choices you make may or may not kill characters and, all that good stuff. But, they went from typical monster horror in both The Quarry and Until Dawn, and all the weird psychological stuff in the Dark Pictures games, to your Alien, your sci-fi horror here with Directive 8020. And Pixel Junk, it's called Dreams of Another. This is the one where I think when you destroy stuff, it changes the world. Interesting concept. I don't know if it'll be something I'll play, but it looks really, really cool in terms of concept. Darwin's Paradox follows an octopus who finds himself in a food factory. It's very much a stealth game. Looks like you gotta learn how to hide and blend in so people don't see you. Midnight Walk, stop motion. I think this is the claymation game. That looks pretty cool. It seems like stop motion framey stuff seems to be in this year. So we'll see how that and South of Midnight go in terms of the audience. Dave the Diver adding some pretty good pixel art of Ichiban for a crossover with like a dragon. That should be fun, especially if you play Dave the Diver. Hell Gets Us. Hell Is Us, sorry. Gets a release date. It'll be September 4th. This is the third person, sci-fi action game. Looks post-apocalyptic, all that. So, definitely on my radar. Digimon, which we kept making jokes about what kind of game it is, and we would have never gotten close to Digimon. I didn't watch Digimon enough to get any of the clues that they may have mentioned in there. But yeah, so Digimon Storytime. Storytime Stranger, I guess that's the full name. It's coming out in 2025. And then finally, Five Nights at Freddy's has like a Mimic game coming out. If you like FNAF, as the podcast's favorite niece, Kitty Ashcat, calls it, you have a new game coming out in 2025, which looks like they're doing a little twist on it, where things are where the whatever is mimicking other animals or things or people or whatever. So that is coming to you, and that is all for the State of Play. It was pretty decent. Didn't have the big news that we wanted in terms of Bloodborne and stuff like that, but did get some pretty new games out of nowhere, and also got me excited for Metal Gear a lot more than I was. So yeah, this did its job. So following up on a story from last week, PlayStation Network, this was updated back, that's why it says finally up. It's only down for about 24 hours. Everybody gets 5 extra days on their PSN. They have not really come out and said, from as far as I can tell. It seems like it was probably a DDoS or something like that, but I don't know if they've admitted to that yet. But it doesn't seem like it was anything nefarious. And when I say nefarious, obviously that is as well, but not like the one that took it down for 21 days. That whatever that hacking group was called that did it back at that around Christmas time when it was down for 21 days. So you're not going to get any free games this time, but you do get free days of PSN for you. And I guess that's good. But yeah. So it was a big deal, but not as big of a deal as enough for me to edit into the podcast last week. All right, next up, Marvel Rivals says there's no plan for a PvE mode. But they are trying to come up with other game modes. I don't know. I guess it's superheroes and stuff. You might want to play with your friends against, like maybe you play as hero Marvel characters against, hooray, 5 free days, right? Goat. Maybe that way, or maybe they're thinking some kind of story-based, I don't know, PvE, but I don't think they need to mess around with it. It's doing well as it is, just being the regular Overwatch PvP hero shooter that it is. You right along with Kitty Ashcat, who is absolutely in love with this game. She loves the character Magic. That's Magik, Magic. And to the point where, if you go to our Discord, you see some of the artwork from Miss Ashcat. She's a pretty good artist. At her young age here, and she's drawn Magic multiple times in her little sketchbook. I don't know what it is captured her, but yeah, she loves Magic. So yeah, she's been playing this game a lot. Absolutely, the game is working fine for her. She did get trolled by her friends, who probably are more well off than us, maybe. About how she has bad computer specs, which she does not. She has a 3060. She has a Ryzen 5, which is, yes, a few generations behind, but that's just because Uncle Mark is the only one that can buy her computer parts. So Uncle Mark needs to save money to upgrade her system, or upgrade my system and then give her my old stuff. But the problem is, we probably have to do motherboard and CPU, and RAM. We probably have to do a full thing of everything but the graphics card. Because I think, it's always, Tom knows, because she has my original stuff that you put into my computer before we did the current buildup I have. So she has my old motherboard from whatever that was, and I think it's all like what was it DDR3 or 4 or whatever that is. It's the one below what I have. Yeah, she still has all that. She still has that in terms of the motherboard and all. So and RAM. So she probably needs a full upgrade at some point. Her stuff is fine. I mean, she just got made fun of by her friends, so she was a little. But I said to her, "Is it running at 60 frames?" She was like, "Yes." I'm like, "That is all you need to worry about when playing Rivals. Don't let your friends try to shame you because you don't have top of the line stuff." That is what I told her. Yeah, kids are stupid. She's not a complainer, so she's not going to complain to me about it. But I do want to upgrade, since she's a first-person shooter person. I do want to, if I get the chance, to upgrade her. But I'm already spending a good amount of money on her 8th grade graduation present this year that is not going to be computer-related, that I hope she also likes. That I'm not going to mention here because of the sheer fact that I never know if she's listening or not. Yeah. You can't even turn dirt pile viscosity to the max. Yeah, I think they probably have like, I would imagine 40,000 series cards and probably Ryzen 7s or 9s. I would imagine they're a little more well off than her, but the one kid knows computers a little bit, so he's a little bit of a snob, a 13-year-old snob. But yeah, anyway, she loves Rivals and she loves Magic, and I'm glad I was able to get her the upgraded GPU because she was running at 15 frames a second with the 1660. Yeah, so she was playing it with a 1660 Super, and bless her heart, she kept trying until I finally told her, I'm just going to get you a new GPU. But yeah, so she's happy, but I want to make sure she's probably be a generation behind all the time, which is fine. But I do want to make sure I keep up with that with her, because as I said, I realize I don't play games that are as graphic intensive as her. So either way, sorry for that tangent that Marvel Rivals brought up here, but yeah, it's her crazy system. Yeah, that would be crazy. All right, and more fun news. Apparently, according to the Nintendo Switch patent, you can put the Joy-Cons on upside down, so you can play it doesn't matter which way the thing is. I guess it rotates like a phone. That was a fun thing to see on the patent. I'm assuming with it being magnetic that you could do that. I don't know why, but I'm assuming it's going to have like the same roto technology that like a phone does in terms of screen flipping. If that's essentially what they're doing here. But yeah, so yeah, that was fun. It leads to all kinds of. It leads to the idea that I thought of when I saw the first previews of this, is that I think they have USB-C ports on the top and bottom. So I'm wondering if you can put it in the dock either way. And they may have just done that and made it easier so that you don't, take it out of the dock wrong and it was upside down, that it flips for you. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just, until we get it in our hands, I don't know exactly what they're going for here, but it's interesting to think that they're not going to be as strict with this as they were last time. All right, next up, I think I grabbed the wrong story, but anyway, this. This is. I pulled this. This headline is different than what I pulled, so ignore the headline. basically, I pulled it because it looks like Control 2 is going to be going to full production at the end of the month, which is awesome. And the Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes are going to be, they're already in full production, so they will be coming soon. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, those kids definitely don't know what they're talking about, Night Duck. But I already had the conversation with it, but it was just, I was like, then it makes me go, maybe I should upgrade her. But yeah, that was the main reason. That 2060 thing that you mentioned there was the main reason I did the whole graphics card update and figured out a way to do it. Even, you scrape together a little bit of money you don't have. Wait for bonuses and things like that to come in. So that she'll be able to do that. But yeah, that was the first thing I looked. But I made sure she had a Ryzen 5 because then I would definitely need to upgrade that. But yeah, anyway, back to this, back to the story here. But yeah, so we're gonna get those two games. I'm gonna say Control's probably early 2027 game. Max Payne 1 and 2 are probably the 2026 games. Because you're going to get the multiplayer thing, the spin-off FBC Firebreak at the end of this year. So I think that's the cadence it's going to be on for this. I think maybe even 2028 for Control, but I don't see it going past 2027. But yeah, it's interesting. I can't wait to see. I am totally in on the Remniverse. And finally, they announced the PlayStation Plus catalog for February 2025. So the Extra and Premium, which is your first tier, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Top Spin 2K25. I think Jedi Survivor is also on Game Pass as well, or was on Game Pass. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage Tape 1. Which means your boy might need to upgrade to Extra, maybe. A Saga Frontier Remastered. A Somerville. Tin Hearts. And Mordau. And then for Premium, Patapon 3. And Dropship United Peace Force. So those are your games for the rest of February 2025 if you have Extra and Premium. I think I have Standard just for the online stuff, in case if I ever have to have online stuff. But, yeah. So, if you're looking forward to Lost Records and want to get it for free, just upgrade to Extra here. Yeah, I don't know if Topspin 2K5 was good enough to go for it. And Jedi Survivor, at this point, you could probably find a sale on it. That would be less than the amount of months you need. Yeah, that's. Here's the thing. Xbox, while it's not been as great as it used to be, always tends to have, because of how many studios they have, probably Microsoft, 1 or 2 to 3 games that I'm like, yes, I'm so glad I have Game Pass. I get these games. Avowed's one of them. South of Midnight's another. Doom, and I forget the third game. Or the fourth game. But you're getting, Atomfall. That was the other one. 4 games there that I love. I look at this list and I'm like, I guess Lost Records. I'm like into it. It's a Mark game. But I don't know if I want to upgrade to Extra for it. I'll just buy it if I want to play it. I'm sure it being episodic, they're not going to be $60 each episode. So, I'll just buy it. I'm not interested in any of the other games. I'm sure I could get Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor for fairly cheap. That would combine for less than 2 months of this service that it would take to beat both games. Now, if you told me that I would have these games, download them, and I wouldn't need Extra to play them, kind of like how the free monthly games work on Xbox, I'd be game. But this does not make me want to sign up for the Extra stuff. So, And Tape 1 launches in February, Tape 2 launches in April. So it's basically the same cadence as Life is Strange. So, yeah. And that was the news. Bring you back up to Big Mark here. Yeah, so that'll do it for this. Just some house cleaning because things are going to change and be fast and furious here now that games are starting to come out. We have tonight, we will have the Adventure Island, 7th area, playing through that. Thursday, we'll be finishing up Chrono Trigger with Tom, and then Tom will have a new game. He's already narrowed it down to a couple. We'll reveal it probably on Thursday. If not, I'll reveal it on NewsHour. Friday is the new segment. I have to come up with a name for it. I got to keep thinking of it. And then Saturday will be Trails in the Sky. And then Sunday we'll be back for the NewsHour. If Avowed is good enough that I want to stream it again, I will probably stream it like Saturday morning, afternoon, Sunday morning, afternoon, like weird time than when I usually stream it. That is what the Friday night games will fall into, is basically when Mark wants to play it, he'll stream it as well if he feels that it'll be fun to stream. So you'll be getting those weird hours that I play games on stream here. So maybe I'll get different viewers in from different time zones for that. But yeah, so look on that Friday thing. I'll start anew. Maybe we'll play it on Fridays. I think I have 2 weeks between games from Avowed to the next game. So we might get 2 Fridays in a row with it. But yeah. And then we are working on the details for Podcast Prime. I'll talk it over with Tom and schedule a date for that. And then we'll basically just get his opinions on the big news stories of the first couple months of the year. We'll set the game club for that segment. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, things are going to start coming fast and furious here as the game's starting to get released again. And yeah, we'll be picking up some stuff here. And maybe I could even make like if we're not doing direct streaming, maybe I make the rest of the playthrough of an Avowed like a YouTube exclusive. I don't know. We're working on things here. So, but anyway, thank you guys for joining me. It has been fun as always. I'm glad we got into some computer talk and yelling about the terribleness of 13-year-old boys here. And yeah, I got to talk over that state of play again. If that video is not up, it will be up tomorrow. Or it'll be up. Yeah, I'll just put it up tomorrow. Along with that. And then I'll probably get a bunch of the other stuff up tomorrow as well, since I am off. And get everything set for the rest of the week here. So, thank you guys for joining me. It has been fun. And we'll see you next time. Bye.